Hey gang, welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. Today's video is going to be a tool review video. Now I've said it before, I get offers all the time to either show or endorse products and I turn down almost all of them. A lot of them have nothing to do with my channel, but if they do and I have an interest in that tool, I'm probably going to take a chance and see if it's worth having. So in this case, I had a company contact me and they offered me two different tools. One of them I'm very interested in, and one of them I just kind of want to see if it'll work. So let me show you what the tools are, and we'll go on from there. So I received this box. It has two items in it. This one's a little heavier than the other one. Let me get it out first. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But this is the primary one that I'm interested in. So, this is the one that I'm interested in. This company is OLMLMO. I'm not even going to try to say that. But I will say this is a lithium-ion brushless impact wrench, 21 volts. I believe it's rated up to 800 foot-pounds. Now, I was actually looking to get something like this, possibly to use on road trips. Maybe for the RV, maybe for my truck. You know, when you're on a road and you break down, you want to have tools on hand. And I think this would come in very handy. I could also use this in the shop. Let's open this up and have a look at what's inside the box. So again, there's the company name. As it says here, 800 foot-pounds, IW-04. I have no idea what that means. Let's open it up. Inside the box, instruction manual. We'll look at that in a minute. We have two 21 volt 5 amp hour batteries. You can see up here in the front it's got a little sensor so you can see how charged it is. One typical battery charger. I thought this was kind of cool. I'll get them out of here. We've got 4 slim impact sockets. So these can go inside of the small openings of your wheel. And this one here, that's a 19. This is a 21, 22, and 24 millimeter. There's another one in here, and that is a 17. Now, I don't think there's any cars that have lug nut that size, but most of them are within these scale sockets over here. That looks pretty well made, actually. Let's hook up a battery. Now, right here on the front, you're going to notice it has a little light, right? A lot of tools have those lights on them right now, but also it has a little bar right here, a little bar graph, let's say. You can click on that, and it gives you different torque settings, apparently. There's 2, 3, 4. I don't know if I got that in there very well. You can barely see that. All right. Now, let's take a quick look at the instructions. So again, 800 foot-pounds, right? Gives you some basic information on the first page. Security, work area safety, electrical safety, personal safety. I think we're all competent with that. Power tool use and care, just talks about disconnecting it, cleaning it, not abusing it, all that sort of thing. Battery, tool use and care. Obviously, there's some parameters there. I'm not going to read all of those. The instructions are here for a reason, and that's for the end user to read these. Gives you it gives you some dimensions here. So 7 inches approximately from the very front snout here all the way to the back. 10.43 inches tall, and I don't think this is accurate. 10.43 there. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe they had a typo and put in the wrong number twice. I don't know. Here it has that it's a 1/2 inch in size. Directional button left and right, which would be forward and reverse. Your variable speed trigger. Mode button, that's what I was talking about earlier. And over here, the LED light, as I mentioned. Battery release button, and of course a 21-volt battery. This model is IW-04. Voltage 21 volts, RPM 800, 1400, 2000, 2400 RPM. So that was what that button was for on the front of the tool. IPM, I'm assuming that's some sort of metric version of RPMs, I don't know. Maximum torque 800 foot-pounds, maximum RPM 2400. Chuck size, battery capacity, and size. Here it says 3.15 and 10.43. So maybe this was meant to be 3.15 over here. I get it. Somebody made a mistake. Operating instructions: install the battery, locks in place, directional switch left and right, trigger, auto brake mode. So if counterclockwise mode, the automatic stop mode or the continuous working mode can be adjusted by the button on the base. Note, mode can only be adjusted with counterclockwise rotation, so breaking stuff loose. Putting on the socket, gear adjustment, and it says the speed gear can be adjusted by pressing the button on the base. The maximum RPM are different for different gears. And I think I have some more information on that I'll post. Some breakdowns for troubleshooting, charging. Do not use the battery as a hammer. Remember that. That's very important. I know we're all doing stuff like that. Do not actively disassemble or damage the battery. So there we go. Charging, keep it in a dry place, keep it clean. And there we go. Now this method, or this adjustment that I mentioned here, this is going to change your torque values and your speed. And I'm going to post something on that on the video during post-processing to give you some more information on that. Now it says automatic brake. So this is tightening or clockwise, and it is variable speed. If I reverse it by flipping the switch, it stops. Now, my understanding is it probably is just doing that because it needs to see a load against it. When it's tightening, it's just going to keep turning because it wants to turn, right? But when it's trying to break something loose, if there's no load, it's not going to affect it. It's a waste of time, is what it's saying. And I get that. So let's just try something here. So this socket 24, I'm going to do it breaking loose. Holy cow. Oh, don't do that again. Wow. Well, that hurt. Let me change the setting down here. Woo. Okay, so that's a torque. I can change the settings here. I'm going to reverse it. And it looks like that's not an option. Like if I'm putting it on reverse mode, sorry about the light. If I put it on reverse mode, let the light go out, and I try to change that, it doesn't do that. So it must be on max torque when you're unloading. So there you go. That's just holding it, and it stops. I'm not going to grab that thing again. Oh my gosh. That sent a chill through my arm. I'm going to try this on a lug nut. We're going to see what it does. Okay, so this is my trailer jig that I use to work on my cars. And I'm going to take a socket and put on here. Now if you look closely, these are a little crusty. They've not been, this hasn't been apart. I'm going to put this on reverse. Get this on. Hopefully I grab the right socket. Yep, okay. So there's that. Let's hit this and see what happens. Wow, that just took it right off. Didn't hesitate. Gonna run that back down. Now this is where I think you probably have to be a little more careful, because with the control switch that we talked about down here at the bottom, if I set it at the highest level, I think it's the fastest RPM and the lowest torque value. So let's just see what that does. Well, that still hit pretty hard. Take that back loose. I'm going to change that to the first setting, the first green light. I know the light's not helping. Okay, so I'm going to set that to the first level. Whoops. Yeah, so the first level. Just want to see what that does. Okay, so that was a lot less torque and also a lot less speed. So I'm going to loosen that up. I'm going to set it on the second level. Now to the third. Woo! That hits hard. Now we're going to go back one more time to the fourth green arrow or light on this. The light's not helping. There we go. So I have it on the fourth. Again, that's max speed. Ooh, that slams. Man, that's pretty impressive, really. I'm gonna take this one loose. These are crusty too. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, let's see how this does on my truck. So I'm going to take these covers off. Okay. And again, this is the 22 millimeter. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. Now, of course, the only thing I can question is how much torque is this actually putting on. So, when I looked at the website, it said the higher the torque, the lower the speed. So, if this is set on the highest speed, that should be the lowest torque setting. So I'm going to take this loose again. And I have this on 4, which is the highest speed. Still feels pretty impressive as to how much oomph it's putting into it. Now, what I could say, there may be some other. I'm going to look for more information to show what the actual torque is on it. But if it's 800 foot-pounds max, that's a lot. So, what I would recommend if you're going to have something like this is torque sticks. Let me show you the other item, and I will say I'm pretty impressed. Item 2. Now, I like this already. It's got a reflector built in, right? So if you have to do some work on a road, you have a reflector. but it also has some Velcro on it. I'm not sure what that is for, unless it's maybe if you have this in the trunk of a car or something, it might stick to the carpet. That's my assumption on that. So this is a 2-in-1 jack with air pump and impact wrench. We're going to find out. Initially, when I saw this, I thought that it was something that was battery operated, but I was thinking like a lithium ion battery. Apparently it's not. This is a 12-volt setup. So what it has in the box here, I'm going to go through some of this, is a plug-in, like going into your 12-volt cigarette lighter, and it has an adapter that will hook directly to your battery. So you can plug this into that, hook this to your battery, and then hook this into your unit down here. Now this is the jack. So let's start with that. I'll pull the, you got a nice little pair of gloves in there just in case. I'm going to pull this out. And I can't say, this actually has some weight to it. Like this end is the jack. Look at that. It's got this adjustable, like an old bottle jack. But this end probably weighs a good 5 pounds, it feels like. I look at this and also show you that you've got switches here. It says up, down. That's going to be for the jack. Looks like you've got a light switch, and then I'm not sure what this one is. And this, all here it has, looks like the jack symbol, possibly. And then I don't know if that's meant to be the compressor. We can figure that out as we go. On the side here it says 12 volt. So we'll open that up and you'll find your little air compressor accessories. So there's like a needle for filling up a basketball or something. Here's one fill up like a pull toy or whatever. There's a couple of fuses, an Allen wrench, just a couple other fittings. And you could probably put your own in there if you wanted to. On this side it says air. So we'll open that up. And that is your air hose. And it looks like it's got a threaded end that would go on your tire shredder valve setup. So, OLMLMO electric car jack. Oh, there's a light on the front. Can't argue with that. And it looks like two little reflective, or maybe those are probably blinking lights on the back as well. And that is your 12-volt plug-in. So regardless, this has to connect to this. Like that. Okay. Now, part 2. This says electric car jack. This is a little impact gun. This is much lower rated than that big one that I had earlier. And they pointed out in the kind of instructions that I got with this that this would probably work on a light duty car if it hadn't had somebody else working on it. What they mean by that is if it was a factory wheel and it was torqued to proper specs, this would probably take it loose. If it has had work done to it and somebody put on a heavy impact gun like that one I held earlier and torqued it down really hard, this is probably not going to break it loose. So this is just a, you know, a light duty type of thing. It also comes with 2 sockets, 23mm and a 19. And these are a thicker body on the side, so you're kind of limited as far as that goes. It looks like you've got a secondary accessory tool in here. I would say this is like an escape hammer, as in you need to bust your window out, you know, if you drive off into a lake somewhere, and you can smack that and bust your window. And it also has a razor in it for cutting your seatbelt. I guess this one's just for little tiny nails. Okay. That's pretty handy, although I don't know that I'd want to keep that in the toolkit, right? If you're in your car, you don't want this like in the trunk. What's the point of getting this out if you're already in trouble? Okay, so what I want to try to do is hook this up to a 12-volt battery source, probably out to my truck. We're going to see if it can lift up the truck. How does that sound? It's worth a shot. Let's find out. Before we go out to the truck though, let's look at the manual just to see if there's anything that I need to know that isn't necessarily what I've identified on my own. So safety warnings, we all know that. Input voltage, rated power 150 watts, current rated current 13 amps, fuse is 15 amps, length of power cable 3.5 meters, loaded car weight 3 to 5 tons. Okay. Lifting height range is in centimeters. Common item 135 to 360 millimeters. Update item 150 to 450. I don't have that conversion. Inflating speed 65 liters per minute. That's for the inflator pump, the air pump. So here it shows the jack extended. So you can extend the top part and then two different sections there. As I pointed out, with the numbers are relatable here. So switches, storage box, pressure rod, that's talking about that. Top light, oh, 4. Yeah, there's apparently a little light up on top. Must be a power indicator. Front light, protective pad. That's the top post there. And an adjusting screw. So 7 as well. So center pressure rod, diagram 2. Pressure rod set, check diagram 1. And that's referring to that rod set. 2 is the front light. 3 is a safety valve on the side. Okay, so that's got to be, it says safety valve. I'm not sure how that works exactly. It's a rubber piece. I'm not sure if that's relatable to the air pump. I'm assuming it is. I don't know. Toolbox, switches, cable sockets, power cable, and warning light. So again, various, as I've already kind of covered. Go to the next page. Again, direction switch, as I mentioned. Pressure gauge, center of the back there. Function switch, inflate, close, lift. So that is item 3. So that is your 2 choices, as I said. And 4 is your light switch. Up, down, inflate, lift, close. Jack function, set your parking brake. Hook it up, turn it on. And it's showing it underneath the side rail, I guess, of a car. Hit the switch, and it's going to elevate it, and then after changing the tire, adjust the direction switch to down. So we all know how that works, up, down. Here it talks about the little one. Now this also operates off of that 12-volt system. We may try that, may not, but I'm just going to show it to you and show that it does operate. So the packing list, and this looks like German or something. So let's go check it out, see if it works. Alright, so I'll come inside the truck, plug in, and I have 12 volts. Power. Come out here, I have some blinky orange lights. And then I'm going to flip the switch for the light. So there's a light shining up, and then the front light. Now of course I'm out here in the daylight, so it's kind of hard to show you. It's not super duper bright, but enough to light up what you're doing. So let's turn that back off. I'm going to turn the rocker switch to the air compressor. Alright, so we're going to say that works. And then I'm going to flip the switch to the jack. Now, let's see what this does. So if I hit the up button, the center part's coming up. I'm going to hit the stop and go back to center on the switch. It doesn't come back up on its own. You have to stop it. Just so you know, it's not like a temporary on switch. So you can unthread that. And what I want to do, I'm going to go back down. So flip the switch. Draws it back down. And again, it doesn't have a temporary on switch. It just stays on. And when it goes down, I think it just stops engaging. Not like it's going to pull it down any harder. So what I want to do is I'm going to set this up under this side of my truck, and we'll see if we can lift it. Alright, let's see if this will lift my truck. Now, there's a couple different ways I could do this. I've got the adjustable top here that I can thread up like the bottle jack. I can come off the bottom of my shock mount, or I could come up to the axle housing. So I'm gonna extend that and see how well it does. So in this case, I can almost unthread this all the way almost to the bottom of my shock mount. So that's a pretty good step. So let me go up. Alright, so I'm going to pause here for a second. So it made contact, and then this secondary sleeve came out of the jack. Now this, from what I posted earlier, or will post, this will go to 17, I think, about 17 inches overall, but I'm not going to go that high. There it is. I lifted it up just fine. Now again, this is rated at 3 to 5 tons. I don't have anything that heavy, but just to let you know, this is a 2500 HD truck, extended cab, short bed, with a truck box in it, and that's enough to get this tire off if I need to. And this is now you can see the first sleeve stopped, and there's a second sleeve coming back out. Each segment looks like it's about 4.5 to 5 inches. Alright, I'm not going any higher than that. That's got the tire off the ground a good 3 to 4 inches. So I'm going to go back down. There it is. It worked. One more example here. This car is my little Honda Fit, and this car is very low ground clearance. I can put this under here and I have probably 1.5 inches of clearance. So I'm going to raise this up. Now this is a pretty light car overall, but you can see how easily it lifted this thing. Okay, I know it's pretty windy out, so hopefully it doesn't affect the microphone. One thing I found out, these sockets that came with the smaller tool, there's 2 different sizes. They're flip overs. So this one has a 17mm and a 19mm, and this one is a 23 and a 21. Unfortunately, I already know these lug nuts are 22. So I grabbed the 22 out of the other tool that I had. So this has a forward reverse switch up here on top. Wow. That's interesting. It must have some sort of a torque clutch built in there. So let's just see if I can take these off. Wow, that's got a kick to it. That thing starts to hum and then the clutch fires. Inertia clutch in there or something, because that has a lot of kick to it as far as the sound of it and everything. Okay. Now I know that I've already played around, I think, with these two lug nuts on this side. So let's just see if this can take loose this lug nut. Here we go. Holy cow. That took it loose. I was not expecting that, honestly. Let's try that again. Wow. Okay. Now I don't know how dependable this is long term, but wow, that took those loose. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's interesting. It doesn't say the specifics on here, but that broke loose those lug nuts. So that I'm impressed with. I'm not going to use that to put this back together though. That would be scary. You know, I just thought about this. I may even be able to use this to do some body work. Sometimes I have a car that has damage to it, and I may be able to put it between the frame rails and push them apart if I need to, or if I need to raise something up if it's bent, I could probably do that as well. So that could be handy. Well, I think that's going to be it. I feel like I did a fair review of these tools. I really do like the 1/2" impact. Now, the concern I have is I don't know what the end result is, like how much torque is it really developing. If I can find the answer for that, I will post it. I think that this is really handy, especially if I'm going to be traveling. I got to change a tire on a truck or something like that. I may try to use this more around the shop itself. I'm pretty happy with the battery operated tools that I have now, but this could come in very handy as well. Now this and this, I'm going to say I was pretty shocked by both, to be honest. I was also impressed that it could lift up my truck. Now I don't have anything else that I feel like I want to put it underneath and try. I know it might lift my little car. If it can lift my truck, it can lift just about anything that I need as far as something that I want to change a tire on or have a problem with. Do I see this as an everyday item? Probably not. Would this be handy in a toolbox in your truck or in your car? Good possibility. It does have a big steel plate here on the bottom, and of course we know that this has some sort of motor function in it that makes it go up and down. Light, not the brightest, but it will get you through the job. This little light was helpful, and you know, who doesn't like little blinky orange lights? So I did not try the compressor. I'm going to assume that it works. My priority would be more about the jack itself. Now this little thing, I was surprised. I don't know what's in here. You know, it's got some sort of a clutch mechanism. You know, when you think about a go-kart or something and you step on the gas and the centrifugal clutch picks up speed, it binds, and it makes the thing go. That's what this feels like. It's otherwise this freewheels. There's nothing stopping that from turning. So it's got to have some sort of clutch mechanism. And again, this broke loose the lug nuts on my truck. They had mentioned to me that if a vehicle had been worked on by somebody else and it was over torqued, it may not break it loose. I put those wheels on myself, and I'm very cautious about how much torque I put on my wheels. And it works well with this kit. This is not cordless. This has to have that cord on it. So emergency kit type of thing, I would probably go for that. Other than that, that'll be the end of this video. Now I want to thank this company for giving me these products. If you're interested, as I said, there will be links in the description below, whether it is through Amazon or if I have an affiliate link, which if I do, that'll get you a discount as well. So take a look in the description box down below for more information. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.